Welcome back, everybody. We are sweating some basketball right now with DraftKings contributor Matt LaMarca and host of the Four Seasons podcast for Ball is Life, Ryan Magdziarz. All right, guys, an NBA price check is the name of the game. Matt, who's your favorite DFS play in the 9K plus price range? So like the expensive guys.
Yeah, I'm going to go real off the board here. I'm going to pay for the most expensive guy, Luka Doncic. The production hasn't exactly been there for him recently. He has scored, under 50 points in three of his last four games, but the usage rate is there. He's had a usage rate of at least 39.8% in each of his last four contests. There's at least a chance that we don't have Kristaps Porzingis again for the Mavericks in this spot. So I think Doncic, once again, looking at a big usage rate, he's too talented. He's going to bounce back. And this is a potentially good spot here against the Bucks. This game has the second highest total on the slate, so there should be some points scored. Give me Luka Doncic at 10-9.
10-9. I mean, wow. Okay, Ryan, where are you going?
I'm paying up for Vooch at 9,100 at Toronto. Speaking of a good spot, Toronto's beat up, and they're not playing great basketball right now. Granted, it's in the backcourt with Lowry and Van Fleet, but their whole team is just not running like they usually do. And Vooch is on a heater right now. Yesterday went off for 63. I think he was the highest scoring player in DFS yesterday. 51 the game before that. And Levine is questionable. So that's even more touches for Nikola Vucevic. Even with Levine, though, I still like Vooch paying up for 9,100.
All right, Ryan, let's stick with you while your internet's doing good. All right, 8K range. Where are you going?
8,100. I like Drew Holiday tonight. And Matt touched on it. Giannis, probably doubtful. All right, he is doubtful. Probably a no-go. And while he's out, he's balling. 51.2 fantasy points in his last 5 games, while on the season averaging only 35.8. So something about with Giannis gone. I know it's a lot of touches, but I don't know if Middleton's deferring to Drew Holiday, but Drew is like the top dog when Giannis has been out lately. So I like Drew.
All right, Matt, where are you going in this price range?
Yeah, I certainly can't argue with Drew Holiday, but I will go with Donovan Mitchell. I like him. He's only $500 more. I think Holiday sort of priced at the ceiling for what we would expect for Drew Holiday. Donovan Mitchell kind of not at 8.6. Mike Conley on the second leg of a back-to-back, good candidate to sit out. Mitchell has increased his production to 1.4 DraftKings points per minute in games without Conley this season, and just an excellent matchup versus the Blazers. 29th in defensive efficiency is Portland. The Jazz lead the slate in an implied team total. So I think that this is a good night to pay up for Mitchell.
All right, moving down a little bit here, Matt, the 7K range. Who do you like in here?
Yeah, so I can't really argue against Chris Middleton in this price range. A lot of the same logic that Ryan used with Drew Holiday. If Giannis is out, Middleton has increased his usage rate by nearly 7% with Giannis off the court this season. That's the top mark on the team, averaging just under 1.3 DraftKings points per minute. So I actually think you can build a pretty nice balanced lineup tonight. Go with a few of the guys in this, 7 to 8K range. There are also some strong values that we'll get to, but this 7 to 8K range seems a little bit stronger than we see most of the time.
You agree, Ryan? A little stronger in this area. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I like the balance tonight. I like Rashawn Holmes tonight as well. I love the Detroit-Sacramento matchup, especially because Jeremy Grant's out. 7,600 for Rashawn Holmes, and Detroit really struggles guarding bigs, specifically centers. Bagley also out, and for whatever reason, the Kings don't even like playing Whiteside, probably because he tries some nights and doesn't try other nights. So they really don't have another guy. Plus, Rashawn Holmes, he's kind of slowed down the last 3 games. I see him picking it up against Detroit tonight. But before these last 3 games, he was going off for mid-40s, low 50 points in fantasy. So I like Rashawn Holmes' matchup and spot tonight.
All right, how about that 6K range, Ryan?
So Toronto's been inconsistent, but their guards have been getting a lot of minutes. I'm talking Bembry, Gary Trent Jr., and Malachi Flynn. Tonight specifically, Gary Trent Jr., I feel like has the spot to be great, but has kind of underperformed. Malachi Flynn and Bembry have been the ones doing the work. But Lowry, FVV out. And I just think Gary Trent Jr. is the better player out of those three guys who are getting minutes. He's not shot the best the last two games, but I think that he picks that up tonight.
What do you think, Matt?
I'm going to go with Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes is never a guy that you like get excited to play. He's pretty boring, but he just gets the job done for you. He's averaging like right around 0.9 DraftKings points per minute, but tons of minutes recently. He's coming off of 37 in his last game, 37 2 games before that, and he scored at least 40 DraftKings points in both of those contests. Ryan touched on this matchup. I do think that this matchup has some sneaky upside. The Kings have the second highest implied team total on the slate. We know that they're bad defensively, worst defensive team in the league. So Detroit could potentially provide some value in that matchup too. So I'm going to go with Harrison Barnes. I just think that safety wise, he makes a ton of sense. Maybe not the highest ceiling at 6,400, but I feel pretty good about his chances to return value.
All right, let's talk super value under 6K. Matt, you were saying like there's a lot of good value on this slate tonight. So where are you going?
Yeah, there are a bunch of interesting players, but I have to stay on brand here and go with Killian Hayes. This is my guy. I have planted my flag with Killian Hayes. He's 3,200. He got the night off in the Pistons last game, but prior to that, over 34 DraftKings points in 25 minutes. He should see, I would imagine, another slight spike in playing time tonight. I mentioned the Kings' defensive struggles. They're terrible. And no Jeremy Grant for the Pistons. So Hayes is kind of the guy, as scary as that is. You know, I mean, maybe Sadiq Bey, but there's just not a lot of talent left on this Detroit roster. So Hayes was the number 7 pick in the draft. He's barely played this season because of injuries. I think that over the second, sort of this final stretch run of the season, they are going to unleash him and find out if they've got a player here. So Killian Hayes, 3,200. Love him tonight.
Oh, man. Ryan, where are you going on this one?
I like the Killian Hayes pick, and I have a guy in that game as well. I have two here for ultra value, and ultra value is my favorite thing about DFS. So I got Dean Wade for 4,600. Cleveland is banged up. No Jared Allen, no Larry Nance Jr. So that 4 or 5 spot is kind of missing. Dean Wade plays the stretch 4 for them a lot. They play OKC, and I think that there is a blowout factor warning because OKC is so beat up and you never know who's going to play for them on a day-to-day basis. But I think it favors Dean Wade because in blowouts, they play a lot of their younger guys to get more minutes. So I like Dean Wade. He's the last 3 games, he's played 38, 31, and 38 minutes. So I like his opportunity. And my last one in that same game that Matt mentioned, Sadiq Bey, because there is no Jeremy Grant. So you need a 3-4 tweener guy going to fill that role. And Sacramento stinks. And so anytime you get to play guys that play against Sacramento, you do it.